What's up, friends? I'm excited because in today's video, I want to just share what I have learned about managing finances as a content creator, about monetizing my online business, and how to track and organize all of that and not go insane. And I just want to put a disclaimer out that this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. I've tried and explored things, and I do think I have some keys and some codes to make life easier. And I know that who could not use more ease and effortlessness in their finances? So let's dive in and take a look at this very simple notepad. All right. So I want to talk about money management systems for podcasters, coaches, and online entrepreneurs. So these systems have really supported me in earning consistent revenue, but also in managing that money that comes in. Because one of the things is like we can have a lot of income, we could not spend it right, we could not be handling our debt right, and all that income just kind of doesn't go anywhere. It just gets spent. So I do want to give a big shout out to Jason Ames. He really helped teach me a lot of cool tools and gave me a lot of resources for a lot of how I kind of manage my finances in my business. So big shout out to him. And to start, it's actually really helpful to approach this from a emotional place. And some of these questions are actually really fun to talk to if you have a partner. They're fun to talk about with them because, everyone has a different experience with money growing up. But how does money make you feel in general? And how is money handled when you were a child in your family, in your household? How do you handle money with your partners and your friends? Is money easy for you? Like, what beliefs do you have about money? Does money make you good? Does money make you bad? Does money make you successful? Is money hard to get? Is it easy to get? Is there enough money? Is there not enough money? All of these things, and examining this mindset that we have about money is actually really crucial in managing it. And I'm not pretending that I have the perfect relationship with money or something. So I still go through all of these things and work on this, because the way that we perceive and conceive of money will affect our ability to earn it and to work with it. So another thing I wanted to mention too is this idea of like gamifying. And if any of you have ever played a game or like a role-playing RPG, money is, or some form of currency, is always a big part of the game. And it is an easy thing to track. It's a reward system that's kind of easy to manage. And when you're playing these games, some of the things you realize is like sometimes you have to grind to earn, and sometimes you have to be really strategic about how you're spending your time at a certain part of the game to get a certain amount of the currency so that you can proceed to the next place. And so we can actually gamify money in our own life, and we can conceive of this whole thing as a game. And it actually really changes the whole process and how we think about our time spent earning. So I do want to talk about this idea of credit cards. Debt is, for some, a huge tool, and for others it's almost like an iron shackle, a ball and chain. And I want to mention Dave Ramsey, because Dave Ramsey was really influential in helping me to get out of debt. And he has something called the baby steps. The baby steps are a very easy, no nonsense plan for anyone struggling with debt to get out of it. And he is someone who would recommend cutting up all credit cards and never using them. And I don't necessarily agree with that, but I do think that if you're struggling with a lot of credit card debt, it can tend to just help bury us deeper. And so to outline the baby steps a little bit, the first thing is you need $1,000 away in a bank account. You need $1,000 in cash as your first starter baby emergency fund. Then you need to attack your debt. You need to find the debt that is the smallest balance but the highest interest, and pay that off. And ideally, you're gonna let's say you're spending $25 a month to pay that off. If you can accelerate that, if you can put more and you can pay that off sooner, let's say you're spending $45 or $50 a month. When that debt is paid off, you're going to find the next piece of debt that has the next highest interest, and you're going to apply that same payment to that. And if you can do more, great. And you want to snowball the debt payment. And if you follow the system, you will pay off debt. And, Dave Ramsey likes to talk about hustling and getting another job and doing whatever needs to be done to make sure that you do this. But the main point is that you are prioritizing paying off high interest debt. So credit card debt, if we're talking about a 25% interest rate or something, you do not want that sitting around every month. You want to take all of that cash and throw it at that and get that balance down as much as possible, as quickly as possible, and then just snowball that payment into your next debt payment. And there's certain different kinds of debt, different kinds of interest rates, and that's why you want to go for the highest interest rate and the smallest balance first, so you can get that easy win, kind of start feeling some relief. And I highly recommend checking out more of Dave Ramsey. There's other financial advisors and leaders in the space, but he has some really good, simple strategies for people. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is YNAB, which is short for You Need a Budget. And this is a free software app trial, and then you have to pay. But it is so worth it. And the idea is that every dollar you have has to have a job. So not everyone budgets because it can be annoying and time consuming, but YNAB really does make it easier. It makes it as easy as possible. It can auto import all your transactions, and it allows you to assign categories to the things you spend money on in your life. And so you can really get down to a granular level how you're spending your money. And it is essential to get out of debt, to have some sort of budget, and to force yourself and be disciplined about not spending outside of it. And then as you get more and more flush, you can kind of just use the budget as a way to track things and make sure you're not going too far off your path or your goal, away from your goal. So that's a little bit about YNAB. I definitely recommend checking it out. If you don't want to use that, at least use an Excel spreadsheet to track what you are spending. Now, that is more on the personal finance side. But now if we move over to your business, so I'm assuming maybe you have an LLC or you're doing business as, or an S Corp or whatever. And there is a system, Profit First, Mike Michalowicz. I think I'm saying that right. And his book is Profit First, Transform Your Business from a Cash-Eating Monster to a Money-Making Machine. And I have not read this book in its entirety. I've read sections of it, and I've watched synopsises of it, and I've seen sort of guides about it. And I use this system in my business. And I'm not going to outline the entire system here, but I do want to show sort of the structure. And the idea is that you are setting up your business for success. You're hiding money from yourself in the right places to encourage a profit. And overall, you are making sure that your business is profitable first, rather than hoping that it's profitable based on what is left over after expenses. So you're actually taking profit away from your income that comes in every month, and then working backwards from that and saying, this is how much I have to spend on expenses. I'll walk through the main account types in the Profit First system. You have an income account, you have an operating expense account, you have a profit. And in fact, I'm going to move profit up to the top because according to the system, profit first, right? So you have profit, you have income, you have operating expenditures, you have tax, and you have owner's compensation, right? Those are the main 5 categories. You make a bank account for each of these categories. It's not one bank account. You have a checkings on the income account, and potentially on the operating expenditure account, and then the rest are savings. And you can even put your profit in a different bank altogether to hide this money. And the idea is that every month, money is going to be coming into your income account because you're invoicing, right? You're invoicing clients, you have product sales, service sales, and that all comes into income. And then based on the Profit First system, you are taking percentages out of the income account and distributing it. So for a healthy business, there's actually a percentage or a range of percentages that are healthy or profitable. And for your tax, there's obviously a tax rate, and owner's comp, there are standards and conventions for how much to take as owner's draw. So you're going to set up these systems, and every month just transfer money into your profit account. So every month your business is profitable. You're going to transfer money into your tax account, so you have that set aside. It doesn't sneak up on you. And you're going to be looking at what you have left for expenses. Then you're going to work backwards for your owner's comp. And I'm not saying always to do this, because we need to pay ourselves as business owners and managers, but we also want to make sure we have enough for our expenses so that our business stays profitable. And the hiding the money from ourselves actually really helps psychologically. So that's the profit first system. I cannot recommend it enough. That in tandem with you need a budget app for your personal finances is a surefire way to improve your financial situation quickly, simply by tracking and systematizing and sort of shifting the way that we handle distributions and income and set aside money. Now, a couple words on banks. I definitely love banks that have like unlimited checking accounts with not too many fees. So Capital One has been pretty useful for me, although there's many other options, and always a good idea to look into like local credit unions and see what they have available. And I do use QuickBooks to manage my company's accounting and the books, and it makes it super easy. So I recommend some sort of software that you can kind of track and invoice and track all your expenses, run reports for your tax advisors and things like that. If you're not using something like QuickBooks or there's other options out there, I know it can be overwhelming at the beginning, but it is really, really, really worth learning just enough that you can kind of take care of yourself, even if you choose to hire it out. And I've hired it out for a long time until I could kind of just handle it myself. And I personally like to have eyes on the funds at all time. So the very, very last thing I want to mention is just this idea of diversifying your revenue stream. And if you're a freelancer, if you are a coach or a consultant, like really thinking about how you can create more digital products that earn money while you're sleeping, as well as productize your services. So rather than just charging hourly, if you're still in an hourly mode, figuring out how to bundle it into programs, into hybrid coaching programs, or into evergreen, do-it-yourself courses, and just kind of funnel as much energy as possible into reoccurring revenue that happens while you're asleep. The reason for this is because it's really one of the main ways to get ahead financially is to not have your earning tied to time. And I know this is not a new concept, and many greats have shared this before me. However, it's worth mentioning that it's a really good goal to move towards, is reoccurring passive revenue from products that are not tied to your hour. Even if those products are sort of like consulting time, maybe that's a one-to-many group model where you are working with several people at once and really exponentially augmenting your hourly rate. Well, that's all, friends. I really hope that this video gave you some new ideas. I'm going to put links to all the software and resources in the description here. And please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get updated when we upload a new video. Really helps the channel out. I cannot thank you enough for spending some time checking this out, and I will catch you on the next video. Take care.